Hi guys, welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Mandy Von Knits. I am a 39-year-old woman, well almost 39, from southeastern Michigan, and I live here with my husband and 2 kids. I have been knitting for about 9 years, give or take, and crocheting for about 14. And my favorite items to make are garments. I love making sweaters and cardigans, probably both equally. The garments that I like knitting most are the ones that have different construction from what you would consider normal. I love to learn new things, and I'm going to be working on perfecting. I don't want to say perfecting, like getting better. There we go. I'm going to be working on getting better at color work. In a couple of weeks here, I'm going to be casting on an all-over color worked sweater that's steeked, and I think that that's going to be a very good kind of practice project for future endeavors. So I'm really excited about it. This podcast is about sharing finished objects and sharing my works in progress, and I love to go over my knitting plans and go over different patterns that I've seen that I would definitely knit if there were more than 24 hours in a day. I keep hoping, but it hasn't happened yet. I am a paraplegic and I use a wheelchair full time. So I enjoy doing this knitting podcast as kind of a way to reach out to the knitting community without having to go to like fiber fairs and things like that, because sometimes it's a little bit difficult with the wheelchair. Okay, so let me go into admin first before I forget what I'm going to say. Every podcast, we give away a pattern. The rules are that the pattern has to be under $15. You can only win once a month. I do that on purpose just because I want to make sure that everybody has a chance, so the same person isn't winning over and over again. You're able to pick any pattern. If you win, just either message me on Instagram or Ravelry. You can find me on both of those, if I haven't said, as Mandy Von Knits. And that's pretty much all the rules. So I am going to leave a blank spot right here. Okay, if that was your name and I drew you as a winner, please contact me, like I said, on Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. It's down below in the description. And let me know what pattern you want, and I will get that out to you. Through Ravelry, if you use Ravelry, and if not, we'll figure something out. Just make sure to let me know. Okay, so this has been an interesting week. I am going to talk about what I'm wearing first because otherwise I will completely forget it. This is the Painting Brick Sweater by Stephen West. And I'm a big fan of like this shape of sweater. And if you have seen in previous episodes, I have the Fantastic sweater and it's all over in blue and it's pretty much the same shape as this. Now, let me first talk about the pattern for this sweater. So this is done in DK weight. The sweater pattern is in DK weight. Geez, it's morning. Can you guys tell? I had to wake up early because my son has tournaments today. So I'm sorry if I struggle a little bit. So, okay, this sweater is done in fingering weight. So what did I do? I took the sweater pattern and I cast on a much larger size than I would need, and I think I like how the fit came out. Now, if you take a look at this, this is like the people worry about with this this sweater shape about the underarms, and if like they lift up too much or they constrict your movement. I don't think it does. I think this one is much better than the Fantastitch, but I still don't think the Fantastitch is bad at all. Let me think here. Yeah, no, it doesn't constrict me at all. I love it. In fact, these two, the two Stephen West sweaters that I've made are probably my favorite. So if you can tell, well, what I tried to do here was I had a gradient of gray. So I basically, trying to show you my whole arm here. Like it starts light and then goes darker, and the ribbing is the darkest gray. So I had a lot of fun making this. I enjoyed making like the garter stripes, the color change instead of like the brick pink part. It was just something that I had wanted to do. I really do like his patterns, and I keep keeping my fingers crossed for. So Stephen West, if you're not familiar, he has a sock mystery knit along and a shawl mystery knit along, and I keep keeping my fingers crossed. I'm like, hey, why not a sweater mystery knit along? And I'd probably be the only one excited about that, because for a mystery knit along, a sweater is probably not the best idea, but I try. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy or what? But I do like his patterns, and I hope to make more in the future. But like I said, there's only 24 hours in the day. Okay, so on to my, I can't say it's finished because it's not finished, but like it's so close to being finished, you guys are gonna laugh at me. So last night, in fact, I finished the sleeves. Hang on, let me show it to you right here. So I finished the sleeves. By the way, I'm terrible at this. I'm sorry. You'd think that this is my first podcast and not like whatever number it is. It's in the 40s, 48 maybe. I'll put it down below because I don't remember. This is the Willow Pullover. It's a test knit from Andrea Gaughan, and I'm loving this. So it's an all over basket weave sweater. It has short rows in the back, which are really nice, especially for a sweater like this, because when you incorporate like a really not a complicated pattern, but when you incorporate any pattern, it's kind of more difficult to add short row shaping. So I was really excited that this pattern had short rows. So like I said, I cast off the sleeves last night. I was working on them, and I still have a little bit of ends to weave in on the sleeves. And then let's talk about this neck, because so the Willow Pullover wants you to knit 3 inches-ish of ribbing and then fold it over and sew it. So kind of like, well, not really like this. This also has a folded over neckline, but I did it a little bit different because it was top down. So it was easier to kind of knit the 2 layers of ribbing together, as opposed to this where I have to actually sew it down. But that is like the last item that I have to do. And I tried this on yesterday, and I'm so excited about the fit. And it's so light, and this is going to be a very good spring, fall sweater. I would be very interested to make it in like a different weight yarn. Well, not a different weight yarn. What do I mean by that? This is a DK weight yarn. This is Lang Yarns Regina, It has a high amount of cotton. It is super light. And I feel like if I were to knit this again, I would knit it in a hefty, not a hefty, like a more normal, I don't want to say normal because that sounds wrong, but like a more traditional DK weight that wasn't so light and fluffy. And I feel like it would make a really good winter-ish sweater, but for right now, this is so soft. Seriously, if you guys haven't tried this yarn before, I would definitely try it. I got it at Little Knits, and it was pretty inexpensive there, so I was really happy. And I also found it in like that magenta pink, and that magenta pink is like my color. I love it. So I've been working mainly on this week, and I'm super excited about the progress. It will be finished next week, but I have also been to the doctor's at least, yeah, I've been to the doctor's twice this week, so it's been a week. But because I went to the doctor's, I was able to work on my Musselburgh. And I've been working on this one. So in case you haven't watched previous episodes, I cast on two Musselburghs in April because I thought I had a hospital stay coming up, and I ended up not. So I brought I brought both of them with us on vacation, and I worked all the way up to the decreases on the other side on the one, and then I started working on this. So my bright idea is that I am going to work this one till the decreases, and then all I'll have left to do on both of the Musselburghs is just the decreases, and it should be fine. It shouldn't take very long at all. This is my thought in the back of my head. So the Musselburgh generally goes with me when I go to appointments or when I have to leave the house, and it's just easiest to knit round and round and not bring a sweater somewhere. So I really love this colorway. This is Always Be Kind yarn in Rainbows After Midnight. Yes, that's it. And it just makes me happy. I don't even remember what size I'm knitting on this. I think it's an adult small. Generally for the Musselburgh pattern, which is by Ysolda Teague, by the way, if you don't know, it's a very versatile pattern. But generally for the Musselburgh, I will knit either an adult small or an adult medium, and that will pretty much fit like the gamut of people that would want the hat. So I feel like this is something my daughter's going to like. She loves rainbows. In case you've never heard of the Musselburgh before, it is a knitting pattern that you can use with any weight of yarn. You start off at the top right here, and then you increase until you get to the width, and then you knit a whole bunch, and you basically do the same thing on the other side. So you end up with a tube. And I have made quite a bunch of these, and we love all of them. I have made some for my kids. I've made some for my aunt. I've made some for me. I have one that's like my special, super special hat that's in merino nylon, and I held it with mohair silk. I think that's what it, no, it might be Surrey. It's very soft and very comfy, and it's one of my favorite hats. So, but I don't know how much longer this will take. I have been able to stay out of like doctor's appointments for a little bit, so that's probably why it's taking longer, which is a good thing, but I mean, not for the Musselburgh. Now, since I've been working on mostly the Willow pullover, the only other thing that I have been working on, and I love this, this has been a lot of fun, and I've actually started on the bottom ribbing on it. So this is Summer in a Box, and this is a pattern by Ewelina Murach. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And this is such a fun sweater top. Yeah, we're gonna go with top to knit. So as you can see, we've got like this lace border on the bottom. And because I'm so short, I went with there are two different suggestions for how you want to do the bottom. One is a wide lace border and one is a narrow one. And I chose the narrow one because I did the stockinette probably longer than I should have. I am short. I'm only 5'8", so there's not much of me that needs the length there. But for this pattern, you start off knitting this strip, and you knit it, you start off knitting a very long strip, and then you kind of pick up the front and do the short rows on the back. So this is also another sweater that has short rows. This yarn that I used was Barocco Renew, and it has, I'm trying to remember, it has a viscose, there's some wool in it, and I'll put it down below because I never remember. For some reason, I keep wanting to say it has cotton in it because it kind of reminds me of the way terry cloth feels, but it has no cotton. So it does have cashmere, which I thought was interesting. It's supposed to be recycled fibers, so I don't know what they consider recycled fibers, but whatever it is, it's in here. So after I knit the ribbing at the bottom, then there's two different options for sleeves. So you can pick up the sleeve stitches and then go straight into the ribbing, or you can pick up the sleeve stitches and do like this lace pattern for a bit and then do the ribbing. So after I finish this bottom ribbing and cast off or bind off, I am going to try it on and see how over my shoulder it goes, to see if I need to add some length to the sleeves with the lace pattern, or if I could just get away with ribbing. See, I don't want the shirt to be sleeveless, but if kind of the yoke of the sleeve, or the yoke, like I said, it's early, if the yoke of the sweater goes like down here, then I could just add ribbing, but I don't want it to be up here. I'm not a big fan of sleeveless, and I just don't want to make it that way, so I won't. But this was a good knit. I will tell you one thing. So this ribbing down here, right? It's basically the same pattern as right here. And so I'm knitting the ribbing. No, I'm knitting the lace pattern yesterday, and I'm going around and around, and I had just started it. I think I was like 3 rows in, and I remember specifically when I started it, I'm like, no, I don't need to put stitch markers in. It's fine. I mean, it's a 4 stitch pattern. I can't screw this up. Guess what happened? I had to rip out the 3 rows of lace and do it all over again. Except this time I put in stitch markers every 4 stitches, and I didn't screw it up that time. So this has some sort of moral at the end. Do you guys use stitch markers like that when you're working lace, even like easy lace patterns? I can't be the only one who does this, right? I really don't. I do not enjoy ripping out anything. There that the other Willow pullover that I had made in the magenta pink that came out too big for me, I have decided, and I talked to my mom about this, that I am going to take out the neck, get rid of the elastic, and kind of pick up the stitches so that the neck lies a little bit flatter. And then I am going to give it to my mom or my sister, because one of them should be able to fit it. I am not going to be ripping out that whole sweater. I am not a big fan of ripping out sweaters, especially if somebody is going to fit them, right? Like, it's a sweater. Someone will fit it. And there's nothing wrong with the sweater. I would wear it if it weren't so big on me. But my goodness, that is all of the knitting that I've done this week. It seems like it should be way more, but it's not. So it is what it is. I am going to talk about a couple of patterns today that I've been noticing as I've been looking through Ravelry. First of all, have you guys seen the new woolen pine sweater? Because I actually have 2 woolen pine sweaters to show you today, and the first one just came out. So it's called Stowaway, and it is in DK weight. Now, I think it's so cute. Do you know, like, the little kangaroo pouches in the front of the sweater where you can put your hands in? It has one of those. Is that what you call it? I don't know what to call it. What do you guys call it? So this is the sweater, and I'm putting up actually nice pictures, so you guys are going to see it in color. But if you take a look, you can see the pouch in the front is color work, and so are the sleeves. And I think that's a really cute thing. So when I saw this, I was like, that would be fun to do. But the only problem is I'm going to be working on the Voyage, and the Voyage is all over color work. So this is DK weight yarn. I did say that. So, not the yarn choice that I normally choose. I'm more of, like, apt to pick fingering weight yarn, but I thought that this pattern was so cute. And it is on, there is a discount code just because it just came out. So it makes me excited. So for woolen pine, they have a ton of patterns, and I never knew this. So I started looking through their patterns, and then I ran across this one. This is called Floatside, and this one is in fingering. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this one, but I have not. It is basically a top with some really pretty detail down the front. It is color work. It says, a spirited stash busting top that invigorates with its side to side knit from sleeve to sleeve. Oh, that is cool. It has Latvian braid detail. Oh man. So let's talk about Latvian braids, because I've done one before and it came out very poorly. I would love to kind of practice on, like, the Latvian braid before I try to do this again, because I have an all over colorwork sweater, and you knit the ribbing, and then the first feature is like a Latvian braid right there. And I don't know if it was because I was using Holst Super Soft, yes. Holst Yarn Super Soft, and it was very hard for me to knit that braid. I had no idea what I was doing, and the yarn was a lot thinner, and it's also got like the spinning oil on it, machine oil, spinning oil. Basically, Holst is Super Soft is best after you wash it, but when you're working it, it's kind of difficult. especially when you're trying to do Latvian braids for the first time. So I watched many YouTube videos and I finally got it, and now I probably wouldn't be able to do it again. Anyways, I really like this color work pattern, and I will be showing you pictures of, there are two different sample knits on their Ravelry page. One is like a greenish blue and one is like an orangish red, and I love both of them. They're very pretty. It says that the suggested yarn is Skein Yarn Silk Road, and it's knit and fingering. You need between 540 and 1400 yards. The pattern is $8.75 USD. So this seems like something fun to wear for the summer, especially if it's knit and silk. I don't know though. I've never heard of, it says that this suggested yarn is 60% merino, 20% silk, and 20% yak. I've always wanted to use yak yarn. I've heard that when dyers use yak yarn, the yarn has kind of a darker undertone, and I really like that. Like it, I keep wanting to try yak yarn, I just haven't yet. This sounds like it might be a good yarn to try, but I've never heard of it before today anyways. So the size range for this is 32 to 68 inches. So I thought it was cool. I've never heard of this. It seems Woolen Pine has like oodles of patterns, and I've just completely missed the boat on. So it's always fun to go through different designers that you like and see the other patterns that they have, because I will miss, I swear, I must miss like 50% of the stuff on Instagram. Stephen West is coming out with a new shawl. And I didn't know this, and one of my friends told me this, so I went to Stephen West's Instagram, and I saw the shawl, and it's beautiful. It's like a garter stitch wave shawl. I hope he makes it into a sweater, fingers crossed. Anyways, I looked at his Instagram, and he has such a really nice blanket there that just came out, and I missed it completely too. So both the shawl and the blanket, if someone hadn't told me, I would have never known. But the blanket is super cute. The sample knit on his Instagram is like in blues, and I thought that that would be so great. I really wish I had it in me to knit a blanket, but I don't. It seems like my attention span is not very good. I've been putting together granny squares, and so I'm basically knitting a bunch of crocheting a bunch of granny squares, and I have a ton. But the problem is I have to put them together. I have to either crochet them together, figure out some way to join them, because right now I just have like a stack of granny squares, which is going to present a problem. But I'm thinking I'm going to be getting back into that because I really want to do that blanket. And I've been working it to where it's either DK weight or I'm holding fingering weight double. And it's a great blanket to use like all of the different skeins of yarn that I have that I can't figure out what else to do with. Like, you know how when you get that one beautiful yarn, like variegated or just beautifully dyed or whatever, and you're like, well, I don't want to make another hat, so then I could put it into the blanket theoretically. So that's what that blanket was. And I have a bunch of like cream colored, I believe cream colored DK weight superwash yarn, sock yarn, and I believe I got it from Hobie. It was their Rainbow Sock DK. Yes, that's what it is. Anyways, I have a bunch of cream color, and I'm going to join the squares somehow. I just don't know yet. And I'm pretty sure I probably need more squares. If you can hear my stomach growling, That's it. It is. Don't worry. You're not imagining things. So I love this pattern. And the reason that I love this pattern is because of the neck. So this is Calliope by Espace Tricot. And this neck is so pretty. And black and white is going to do absolutely nothing for it. So you are seeing actual useful pictures. But this is knit in fingering plus lace. So basically you're holding fingering with some sort of mohair silk and it makes DK. Or you could just use DK weight. And this pattern is about $7.50 Canadian or $5.66 USD. You need quite a bit of yarn for this, but only if you are holding 2 yarns together. Otherwise, not really. So the finished bust circumference is between 39 and 71 inches. So that's a great range. And I love both the neck and the sleeves because the ribbing on the sleeves is very long. I have seen many people knit this, and I have always wanted to. It says it's a raglan style sweater knit in the round from the top down, featuring expanding rib at the neckline, simple rib at the hem, and long dramatic sleeve cuffs. This is just a very simple, sweet sweater that, I mean, I love the sweaters that are just plain. Like, they look so beautiful, especially with like if you use a fuzzy kind of like mohair silk. And the sample is knit, I believe it's knit like in a creamish color, so that makes it look even better. I keep talking about wanting to make something in white, like a ranunculus. I have seen a bunch of beautiful ranunculus tops in like all over white, but I'm scared to do that. I'm scared to do that because it would be a disaster, because I am always getting into things and it just seems like white would be a very bad choice for me. But maybe this one, maybe if you use the mohair silk. So what if you did this? What if you knit with 2 yarns and the base was like a white and the mohair silk was like a neon pink? And I think that would be super pretty. I mean, you could obviously swap out the neon pink for whatever color you like, right? But I am definitely like a neon pink type person. I think that would be very pretty to do that in. So, have you guys heard about that one? I've seen a couple that have been knit, but I haven't made it yet. So this next pattern, and I am going to give a shout out to Bobblehead Knits. If you haven't taken a look at her podcast, definitely do. She uploads like Thursday, Friday-ish, and she was talking about brioche. So she had me thinking about brioche. I love the way that 2-color brioche works. I definitely am not very good at brioche. So the only experience I have with brioche is knitting 3 hats in single color brioche. So for the first hat, I swear, I must have ripped it out like 20 times. I knit all the way up to the increases and everything was good. And then the decreases. And then I started screwing up the decreases. Now after a couple of times, as soon as it was increasing, I started putting decreasing, I started putting lifelines in. And that made it go much smoother. But this is the pattern that I'm going to mention. And if you guys have, I mean, obviously, you've probably seen this pattern before. This is Harlow from Andrea Mowry. They actually have a version. This version that I'm showing you is in fingering weight. And that is the version that I'd probably do. I have a bunch of fingering weight. But they also have a Harlow worsted. So this is just a cute hat. I don't know if I would keep the top the same or just do normal hat decreases. What is wrong with me today? It's 9 in the morning, Mandy. That's what's wrong with you. It's too early for a Sunday. But I would really like to do this like in like a gray and a shocking pink, or like a gray and a shocking green. Something like that, because I love the way that 2-color brioche looks, and I would really love to knit this hat. I think actually I will be knitting this hat. The pattern is $7 USD. So it's, I mean, you don't even need that much yarn for it. You need between 240 and 330 yards. But this to me is just a very simple brioche hat, and I do love it. I believe, and I can't remember where I read it or saw it, that Stephen West has this 2-colored brioche tutorial. Maybe it was Bobblehead Knits podcast. I can't even remember now. But if he does, I'm definitely going to check it out. If you've never watched one of Stephen West's tutorial on anything, I would definitely check one out, especially if you're struggling with something, because the way that he breaks stuff down is so super simple. This pattern, the painting bricks, has short rows in the back, garter stitch, and he explained them so easy and how to do them that it was just a breeze. But I thought I'd mention that because I guess if you've done like one of his mystery knit-alongs before, you've watched his tutorials, but otherwise, I mean, maybe not. So he definitely has a bunch of good ones. Now, I'm starting to think about winter. Pretty much winter, right? Because I don't know where you guys live, but here in Michigan, we go from like summer to like cold. By the time Halloween hits, it's so rainy and so cold that it's just pretty much winter. So I've been starting to think about winter, and I found these. Now, these are this is all over colorwork mittens. There's actually a hat to go with it, and I thought that was really cool. But the thing that caught my eye about these is basically the colors that she picked to make them. And I love the fact that there's all over colorwork in it. I don't want to say that I don't make mittens. I've made mittens once or twice, but I've never really sat down and made colorwork mittens. I believe the ones that I've made have been Tin Can Knits, simple mittens, and that's a free pattern, and they're super simple. But these look like a lot of fun. Let me see if I can write down there. So it's all over colorwork and some nice ribbing. I really did like the colorwork kind of pattern on this. I don't know. When do you guys start knitting mittens? The Ravelry download is $6. It says it's based on a graphic design on a thank you note I received. It's meant to pair with the Undergraduate hat, where the main color is switched. Oh, that's cool. It says doing so means you'll get a coordinated accessory set from just 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. That is so cool. So basically you can take 2 skeins of yarn and kind of swap the main color for the hat and the mittens, and you only need the 2 skeins. So what testers had to say. That's pretty neat. This designer has like a little block on the Ravelry pattern that says what testers had to say. So it's kind of like letting you know that the pattern was test knit and giving you kind of insight to what the testers were saying. It says, I love color work with short floats. So that means that these floats are short, and that's another good thing, especially for mittens. But I'm thinking, okay, this pattern comes in sizes 1 through 6. So I wonder, I might be able to make both me and my daughter one of these. I don't know if my son would wear the hat, but I don't know if he's a mitten type person. Maybe fingerless mitts, but not like the mittens without the fingers are called mittens. No, what am I saying? Mittens with fingers are called gloves. So he would wear gloves, but not mittens. He would wear fingerless mitts. So I don't know, but I really like the pattern. And I forgot to tell you who did it. It's Kino Knit. So I haven't heard of them before either. See, I love looking on Ravelry to find new patterns. And here's the kicker. This pattern only has 4 projects in Ravelry. So it was published September 2020. Wow, only 14 projects. Now I really want to make it. I'm trying to think of what colors I would use. I would have to use some sort of pink. What would go good with pink? What about pink and white? What is with me today in pink and white? Like, not any pink. Well, it would look really good in like a peach, and no, that wouldn't be contrasty enough. Like shocking pink and white. Or shocking green and white. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but that's pretty much what I'm at. That is all of the patterns that I have for you today. If I drew your name and I have no idea what name I drew, I usually draw midday Sunday to give people enough time to comment. So if I drew your name, please reach out to me on Ravelry or Instagram as Mandy Von Knits and let me know what pattern that you want. And I will get back to you with that pattern. If you were only here to talk about yarn and knitting and all of the yarny goodness, I'm going to talk about my life for like 5 minutes. So if you were only here for the yarn, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Okay, so my life, there's nothing going on, so you're not going to miss much if you leave. I've been to some doctor's appointments this week, and I got my CAFOs readjusted. If you don't know what those are, they are braces that lock your knee straight. So they're braces that go from your knee to all the way to the bottom of your foot. So your ankle is stable and your knee is stable. So I've been taking those CAFOs and walking on them with some assistance. I'm still kind of like, I definitely need somebody there to support me, but it is nice to get around and get moving. And so I was really happy to get those adjusted. I mean, that's it. Work has been going well. I said I started working on a project with a framework that I wasn't familiar with, and I have like dived right in, and I've been doing Udemy classes to kind of get more familiar with it, and it's been going really well. So I'm super excited about that. Our sprint is ending, I think, in a week or 2. And we should have everything that we need to have done by then done. So that is good. Other than that, I have notebooks of interest to talk to you about. I have been reading very silly things. So I read The Swarm. I don't know who wrote it. I think it's Jennifer Lyle. Does that sound right? It's down below. But it was a very silly book about giant butterflies that are crosses between like crabs and insects or something, and they bite people and turn them into mutants. I don't know, but bad things. They turn them into bad things. So that's what I've been reading. It's kind of like one of those sci-fi movies, like the movies on sci-fi where like they have the giant tarantula attacking the town. It reminds me of that a little bit. So that's what I've been reading lately. I did read through Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden, and it was a pretty good book. I like her books because to me they're very light reading. So whenever I have problems concentrating on books, I tend to go for books that are light reading, like, you know, The Swarm or the Frida McFadden books. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Today my son has a tournament, so he is going to be doing that. He's really excited about it, which is why we're up early. But other than that, that's it. I'm not gonna drone on about my life because it's really, really boring here. So I hope that you guys are having a great week. Don't forget to leave a comment down below if you want to be entered in next week's giveaway. And if I drew your name, please contact me or reach out to me on Instagram, and I will get your pattern sent out to you once you let me know which one you want. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.